Hello, this is Lisa Hazard with the podcast We Are All Psychic. Today, it's just me again. And we do have a guest lined up, and we've been trying to get it going on. It's going to happen tomorrow, I think. Let's hope. Today, I want to talk about my old cat, Morgana. She is now my spirit guide cat. Spirit cat? We all have a lot of spirit guides, and I don't know how many of you have missed your pets when they have passed on. Some of you may have been able to communicate with them or been able to get signs that they were there. Before I start Morgana's story, though, I want to tell you, Misty and I tried to record this podcast. We did record one about Morgana, and I told her story. But yeah, this podcast, technical difficulties. My audio was screaming overdriven. I couldn't find my headphones, so I tried to rig something up, but I didn't test it. And then I found my headphones in a trash can. Is that strange? Maybe not. The reason I thought to do a podcast to tell Morgana's story is that we had a guest who was a medium recently, and she could see Morgana. She talked about her before the podcast. She could see her. And I sent her a picture after the podcast, and she said, "That's the cat." She said, "I can feel that cat." Morgana is no ordinary cat spirit. So when I got, let's see, how do I start this story? I guess I start with Spooky. Spooky is Morgana's mother. Spooky was found in a field in Hillsboro by my son. And she was just the cutest long-haired tortoiseshell cat you've ever seen. She looked part owl, part wolf, part cat. She was just the best cat. She knew how to tame a household, like by being a pacifist. And I watched her with another cat that I had brought home from Phoenix, Micah. Micah slapped her across the face a few times, first few days that she was there. And she just sat there, let him do it, didn't puff up, just kept sitting, and just stared at him and gave him love eyes. And if you don't know what love eyes are, that's when they blink their eyes really slowly. That's not evil cat. That's love eyes. And then Micah never, ever, 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 ever did a thing again to her, to upset her or to whatever. Actually, at that time, he just turned around and tucked his tail kind of between his legs and just kind of went off. When I moved to Decatur from Hillsboro, Spooky got pregnant. It was in the spring. It was 2011. And, I was going to have a litter. I was going to have a litter. No, Spooky was going to have the litter, but I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait to have a kitten litter. And she did. She had the most beautiful kittens. But what's weird is that it was a time, 2011 into April, when some tornadoes came through Alabama, North Alabama, all through this area, and just devastated it. And we had no power for about a week and a half. But on April 30th, which is also my birthday, Spooky gave birth in the dark at noon by candlelight to Morgana and 3 other gorgeous, lovely cats. But Morgana, when she was born, she was so fluffy. She was tiny. She looked like a little stuffed animal, and her tail was all fat. She'd wag it. As she got older, she wagged that fat tail. And they're like, is she going to be a long-haired cat? And sure enough, she was a fluff. Oh, she was a fluff. As she got older, she got longer, more luxurious hair, and she loved to groom. So for those of you that don't know, an orange female long-haired cat is very unusual. I think I read 2% of long-haired orange cats are female. And my friend April called her a unicorn when she met her because of that. And so what's so special about Morgana? I mean, every cat is just unique, special, perfect in my opinion. But Morgana she has so much personality, and she had that kind of way Spooky did with the cats in the household, except she might get a little of an attitude with somebody who needed to be straightened out. She didn't do it much, though. She usually snuggled. She snuggled with all the cats. There's cat piles in the house. There's cat on my lap. When I wrote, this was back when I ghost wrote, I would write overnight, because that's when I had time, and she would sit next to me, all curled up. Oh, she rumbled. And I would talk my story ideas out with her. She would look at me with these deep, deep, soul penetrating eyes. Oh. Whenever we had a party, she would realize it because I'd be cleaning the house for one, and she knew it's one of those days. They're really cleaning the house, like really, really good. She would go in the bedroom or into the closet, and she would groom. And this is no normal grooming. This is a deep, thorough groom. And then once the party started, Morgana would make her entrance, and she would go from person to person, just loving them. Just, oh, she loved a party so much, and she would just sit with people and then go to the next person and just, oh, and everybody just loved her. Oh, my Princess Morgana. That's what we called her, Princess Morgana, because she was a princess, and she had a habit of peeing on me sometimes if I brought a new cat home or had been around a cat, or she's done it to people who came over or who had come over, and they weren't very good. And we found out later, not at the time, we said, Morgana, why did you do that? I said, Morgana, why would you pee on that person's pillow? And then 2 days later, she still peed on this person's stuff or these people's things. Yeah, the truth was revealed, and Morgana was letting me know. I also have always done readings, and Morgana was there for all the readings. She was there when I was making jewelry. I remember hemp especially. I couldn't afford what I used to do, set gems into settings at some point in the early 2010s. And I started doing hemp because I like to keep my hands busy. I started making hemp bracelets and hemp beads and all this kind of stuff. Hey, Gandalf. Gandalf's here for the story. Oh, that's right. And she would sit with me and watch me set gems. She was always on my left hip. She's always sitting there curled up in this little ball. Not always, but that's when she was super snuggly. And in bed, she'd be all up on my back or on my belly or on my legs or on my feet. She was around all the time, and she had these huge orange eyes. An orange cat with orange eyes. I mean, you just had to see her. And you will, because she's the podcast cover. You have seen her. She's the cover of the entire podcast, We're All Psychic. And I'm making a cover of her for this podcast. And it's one of the pictures of her with her deep, penetrating stare. What does Morgana have to do with a psychic podcast? If you've been listening, you might have heard me talk about Morgana before. She's my spirit guide cat. But let me tell you about how that happened, because it's one of the most, I don't know what to call it. It's one of the hugest mind-altering experiences that I've had when Morgana died. She was 7. And her shoulder, she couldn't move her paw. She kept dragging it. So I took her to the vet. But let me go back a minute. In the summer, she disappeared. Now, I don't know how many of you listeners, I'm not that psychic, like cats or know about cats. And if you're a dog person, this is sometimes true for dogs. It's true for a lot of pets. If they're let outside, sometimes if they're sick, they will go off. You know what I mean? And in the summer, before Morgana died, she went off for a week. And I thought, I knew she went off. I knew. I thought she was never coming back. And a week later, Roxy disappeared. That was another one of my beloveds. And I couldn't stand it. I went crazy. All the cry. And then about 3 hours later, guess who walks in the door, Malin? Both Roxy and Morgana. I think Roxy went and found Morgana and brought her home and said, no, you gotta come back. You can't do that. You can't go off. But we did find out she was sick in November with that kind of arm dragging, and the vet said, well, it could be a tumor. He said it could be that she just has a cyst. So he gave her a steroid shot, and she was better for a little bit. But then she wasn't. I took her to another vet, and it was tumors. She was filled with them. She was completely filled with tumors. And I had to put her to sleep. And I pushed my face up into her neck at that time, and I just said, I love you, Morgana, I love you. And then nothing was there. It was like nothing, like it felt like nothingness when that happened. And then I don't remember anything, and then she died. And I cried. Oh, and I went home and I drank. Oh, I drank wine. Oh, I did. I was crying and buried her out in the backyard behind the shed by a tree with a lot of branches. It's kind of like a small tree, maybe about 6 feet high, 8 feet high. A lot of branches, thin, skinny branches. And I'd never buried a cat. I'd never buried a pet other than a fish um, of mine. She died on winter solstice 2017. And throughout the day, crying and drinking, I just couldn't. I didn't have the perception I have now that all spirits are just spirits and eternal. I mean, I didn't know. I thought that's probably what it was. But I figured stuff like, things like animals, or maybe, animals do something different than we do. I don't know. But that night, I was sitting on the couch and had a vision of Morgana. We always called her Princess. Remember, she was Princess Morgana. What I saw was her life essence, I guess you could call it, in the tree where we had buried her. All the branches, they were all dead leaves, and the leaves are just branches wintertime. But I saw in the vision all of these like orange and yellow flames coming out of this, like filling this tree. They were like phantom flames. And then I saw Morgana filling the whole tree. She said, "I am Empress Morgana now." And of course, being my drunk self, I told the people around me, I was like, she's the Empress now. What are you talking about? Like, oh, she's the Empress. She's still around. And, when you're grieving, people let you do your thing. I was grieving. And then another thing about Morgana, I knew she was going to die. I can do this thing where I look ahead. I think I've talked about looking ahead with Morgana on the podcast. And what I mean by looking ahead is if I want, I can look into the future for a vision. I might not know what I'm going to see, and I didn't want to, but I looked when she was sick. I saw her with a litter of kittens in this certain pose. White kittens, and she was spayed, so I knew she wasn't going to make it. And those visions have a certain feeling to them. There's when I look ahead and see something. So, the next day I was pretty hungover after she had passed away. And very sad for a long time. And I found comfort with my other living cats and with my family and my spirit guides. And then, after Christmas, my friend April gave me a tarot deck. I had not learned traditional tarot. I had always used the Osho Zen tarot deck, more by intuition. And my friend April got me the Mystical Cats tarot. And I was like, oh, she said, I just couldn't stop. She said, I put it back like 3 times and I just kept getting it for you. I know you don't need a tarot deck. I know you love your Osho Zen, she said, but I just had a feeling like you wouldn't believe that I had to get this for you. And I said, okay. I opened it up. Oh, that's so cute. Oh, the cards are cats every card. And went through the cards and I got to the number 3 card, 4th card, the Empress, mother cat with kittens. In that same pose, I saw Morgana in with white kittens. The mom cat's white, but Morgana was orange. But the kittens were exactly the same as what I'd seen. I'm getting chills just talking about it because at that moment, when I saw that Empress card, she was there. I had no doubts. Oh, of course I had doubts. I doubt every damn thing. But I was like, oh, hi, Morgana. Is this real or am I just wanting this to happen? So over time, Morgana taught me how to use that tarot deck. I mean, she was great at it. At this point in my life, I had not been into doing readings much anymore. I did have some local clients, but maybe one reading every week or 2. It was 2018 when Morgana was working with me in spirit form. I got really sucked back into the psychic stuff, guys. And I couldn't stand not doing it. It's like I let my responsibilities go. I just was doing cards for people anytime I could and getting communication with Morgana to offer it to them. Because Morgana says things just how you need to hear them, I think. I think she's great at saying certain things a certain way for everybody. She says it a lot differently than I would. She has better words. um, and I I joined. Well, before I joined this group, I had an app. I built an app with a template company called Psychic Cat. And my friends Bunny and Megan, who were with us for the Halloween podcast last year, and they're coming back this year. They joined me on the Psychic Cat app. What did we do? We did free readings. And the very first day I logged in, I made a friend for life. Her name's Taylor. We still talk. Morgana helped me so much with people and my readings and explaining things to me to explain to people to help them and their pets. That's where it started, was with their pets, doing pet readings and talking about their pets. When I see Morgana, I see her in my mind's eye. I have pointed her out in the room to people before and I'll tell them, look, she's right there in this, whatever, corner or by a chair. I'll say, do you see her? Of course, no. I'll look again, and you can see a distortion in the air where she is. And I've had a lot of people tell me they can see this distortion in the air where she's sitting. The best way to or standing. The best way to explain what that distortion looks like is it kind of, let's say she's sitting in a corner. The wall behind her, the blank white wall, might seem warped or dense or loose. It's just like there's little particles moving around there or something, or it just looks weird. It looks distorted. Just like the little area where she is. Well, it's amazing. When Misty and I did our podcast, all the pixels went over to Morgana on that video when I was showing Misty where she was. Morgana is a very special cat. When I was after Psychic, so Psychic Cat was still going on, but like I said, I was avoiding all my responsibilities because this was a big deal to me. I really wanted to pursue it, and I wanted to understand more. I wanted to know more about Morgana, what she was going to teach me, what she was, who, what, how, why, what's going on, what's going on. It's so exciting. So I actually joined a group. I've talked about Sheila, the angel healer. She did a podcast, and I joined her Facebook group to give readings, and I worked with Morgana, and it was the first time other than Psychic Cat. It was free, just like Psychic Cat, where I just spoke what she said to people. And it worked. It's really detailed, too, a lot of the times. Morgana doesn't mess around. She gets right to the point. She's so compassionate. So I stayed in Sheila's group for several months, and then I had to do the work thing again. So I started looking for psychic work because I couldn't stop doing it. And it took a while to get on a good platform, and I built up my clientele locally again. And 2018 to 2021, that's here we are now. Morgana's here. Anything you want to say, Morgana? She says, be good to one another. That sounds familiar. I have actually seen her with my eyes instead of my mind's eye. One time I saw her in the bathtub. And one time I saw her as I was going into a hotel room. She dashed in front of me, like by my feet. And she helps me with my work now in Everclear. And she helps me with my local clients. And nobody thinks anything of it. It's like, oh, Morgana. And actually, I had a client who was on a platform when I was working with Morgana, and she called her a goddess the next day. She said she changed the course of lives of many people. I don't know how she did it. I don't remember my readings. That's why, maybe. But she said that she was a goddess, and she changed the course of several lives. I thought that was fascinating. I don't know what happened. It had something to do with an attachment in the portal in a house somewhere in... not here. Is Morgana special? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if she's a certain kind of spirit. My other cats have come after they passed away. Morgana really wanted to do this. She really wanted me to do this work. And I wanted to. I really did after she came around. And I realized it was real. And it was happening to me. And I can communicate with her. It took a while. She started with the cards and the pet readings. And spirit communication. With Morgana, unlike my guide Sam, I really learned how to communicate better with guides and with spirits. And Sam was always, of course, very good to communicate with, but I doubted myself a lot when he would tell me stuff. Sam's my other guide, another guide. And Morgana just worked on it. She was keep trying. And I could just feel that. Keep trying, keep trying. Try again. She really liked doing it. And of course I love spending time with Morgana. For any of you who have a medium ability or you've been in your life had some spirit contact and you've had pets who have passed away, you can reach them. You can reach them. You can reach them. It's been one of the greatest joys of my life to experience knowing Morgana as a spirit, and maybe the reason I couldn't quite communicate with Sam as well as Morgana is because I knew her in life. Possibility. I don't know what Morgana is still. I mean, in my life, I kind of just take it as it comes. And if it happens to me and I analyze it, I'll figure out what I think is true about it when it comes to stuff like this. And Morgana is true for me. And she's helped a lot of people. So they're still there, guys. And they come back. Morgana told me about 2 years, I think it was 2019, I had a friend named Poncetta. And you've heard Portia Pride's interview. She was the first interview I did. Poncetta is Portia's mother. Portia and Poncetta had been wanting to get me a cat since Morgana died. They knew how much I love Morgana. I did. And then when she started working with us, they were even more excited about her. And Poncetta kept saying, I want to get you a cat. I said, I have to have two, but I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And Morgana told me one day in, I think, August, she said, it's time. She said, Poncetta's going to get you a cat. Poncetta can get you 2 cats. I said, you think so, Morgana? Because I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. Because it's just so hard to love a cat and they die. And she's like, oh, look at me. You're talking to me. I'm like, yeah. And I also was afraid of sicknesses and vet bills and all the people in the house getting sick of me and my cats. But you know what? Morgana said, ask Poncetta. So tell her you're ready. And I said, okay, Morgana, I'll tell her. So I told Poncetta. And for a few days, Poncetta went from pound to pound, taking pictures of cats. And a few days later, I met her in Muscle Shoals. Or maybe it was somewhere in the middle, maybe. No, I think it was in Muscle. I don't know. But then I got there, and she had picked up these 2 kittens. And I opened the box, and out popped Einstein and Gandalf, the cats I have now. And when they popped out of the box, they were little bitty, but I saw them grown. And Gandalf was my shadow cat. Gandalf was the cat I saw in the spirit animal meditation I did with my therapist, Sheila, when I was 23. It was him. It was like, is this happening? Yes, it is. Okay. And Einstein just fit. He's just here. I mean, he's a rose gold cat, and that's what Poncetta set out to find me, a rose gold cat. I mean, he's a tuxedo. But Gandalf is like, he's my spirit cat too. I guess we have a million spirit cats, spirit guide spirits around us who want to do whatever help they can, and comfort, and teach, and love, of course. Love's the most important. I'd like to thank my sponsor, Everclear. It's a place where you can get your advice from psychics and empaths, so you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve. Listeners, thank you so much for listening. There's so many details about Morgana I've left out. She was so special, and she still is. Morgana, any last words for the listeners? She said, see you tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Have a fantastic night, day, morning, afternoon, whatever you're doing. Make it happy. Goodbye.